it's actually printed. Oh, that's a nice one.
Okay, we're live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this, the March 2nd, 2023 Police and Public Safety Meeting. We begin by taking attendance. We have Councilmember Brennan here, myself, Lieutenant Twitty, Lieutenant Todd Frenier, Town Clerk Michelle, Town Attorney Elena Finnett, Judge Swinton, Comptroller Greenwood, Seth Goldstein, Financial Secretary Gene Fody, and Councilmember Moskowitz. Did I forget anyone? First order of business, I need a motion to accept the February 2nd, 2023 minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Awesome.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Any corrections, changes? No? We're good. All right, operationally, our department continues to implement the new policy manual through Lexipol with 120 new or updated policies issued. This is important. I just bring it up operationally because we are adding many new things to operate through the Niskayuna Police Department, and we'll continue to do so. I believe there's around 150 total in the policy manual still yet to be developed in its entirety. And at that point, we will begin the accreditation process. Our analyst, James Hubble, has created a draft of a community survey that we hope to push out, and is continuing to work with Detective Kvaga and Lieutenant Twitty on data analysis for our department. I know that Town Supervisor Puccioni met with him the other day. We've had some dialogue as to different questions we want to add to just get a broader perspective from our residents and the folks that we encounter prior to putting out the survey. So hopefully the survey is going to be pushed out here in the next couple of months. Also operationally, our crossing guard is not going to be available to work for approximately 6 weeks of the current school year. So our officers are going to have to pick up some of that slack and assist with the crossing guard details. She is our only crossing guard, and we really appreciate everything Barb McIntosh does for us. Fleet and equipment, still ongoing. Our 604 replacement vehicles at Niskayuna Tire to be upfit. And again, it's going to be decommissioned and put into the detective division. Our body worn camera project is beginning to move forward. We sat down last week and did some administrative training with the folks from Motorola, learned all about the systems we have in place. It's really incredible. Some of the back-end software we're going to have with evidence managers and other things to be able to utilize. We are seeing a couple of hitches on the back end, only from an implementation process. Hisham was saying that he was having some trouble with the car cameras speaking to the server and things of that nature.
Set.
Is it set now?
All set.
We got an update
this morning.
We got a direct in. He just told me this before I came in, though. So
It's working fine now.
all right. Well, we got a fresh update. Seth is saying we're good to go. So, but Seth and Hisham have been working diligently. Seth, we really appreciate everything you're doing with this because we wouldn't be able to do it without you. We're hoping to have these cameras on officers hopefully by the end of next week. So that's a goal. Also under fleet and equipment, our new copy machines are going to be delivered this month, and that's through the company called Usherwood. We're going to speak about it later, but these copy machines, we were able to negotiate a really good deal with a buy one, get one, and are able to purchase these under the Discovery Grant monies that are coming through the DA's office, because we need to be able to make copies and print things out for the discovery process and scan documents. So we appreciate that as well from the DA's office for that money. Building, the Sallyport drain is still plugged. Charlie Regan.
It's on every agenda
It
for every
is.
meeting I've ever
Well,
been to.
Judge, I keep bringing it up only because I don't want people to forget about it. I did speak with Ray Smith and Charlie. We still don't have necessarily a solution to it. We know it's going to have to be fixed. I was speaking with Ray Smith about we may need to look to budget, regardless of it being fixed or not, for some sort of car wash, maybe into next year's budget, to see how we're going to do that with the patrol fleet. So,
At some point, it no longer counts as a drain.
yes. Well, we put a car in there the other day that had some snow on it, and we had to squeegee the water out of the sidewalk. So, yeah. The faucet in the muster room was leaking. I'm going to take ownership on this one. I was attempting to install a filter, a Brita filter, so that we could have water for the officers to drink if they want to fill up their water bottles. And apparently I broke something inside of the drain. I don't claim to be Mr. Fix-It, but Charlie was kind enough to fix it, and I appreciate that about him. In conjunction with that, I did speak with Ray and Charlie about potentially upgrading the water fountain upstairs to also have the bottle filler, so that I don't have to go around breaking any of my faucets. So it's something we're going to work on and look to see if we have money kicking around our budget for next year. Training, we're going to begin in-service training on defensive tactics. Actually, we began last week, as well as de-escalation and minimizing use of force training through the Police One Academy. So we're doing hands-on component. Sergeant Chris Henry's running that. And then there's also the Police One Academy for some follow-on in-service training and reminders for our officers. Sergeants Chris Henry and John Connor will be attending police supervision training at the Zone 5 Regional Law Enforcement Academy this month. This is a requirement for any supervisor to take this within the first year of becoming a supervisor by DCJS, so they're going to complete that coming up here soon. Detectives Daly, and I have on here Kafaga, are going to be completing training and forensic interviews through the Zero Abuse Project. Detective Daly already completed it. Unfortunately, Detective Kafaga is probably going to have to push that training to later due to the body-worn camera project that we're going to be rolling out next week. Officer Spataro continues to progress through field training. We're getting good feedback about his work. Citizen correspondence. Larry Bostwick had requested the committee look into the possibility of a crosswalk on Balltown Road to connect pedestrian traffic from Hexham Road West to the East Side neighborhood. This is ongoing. I know I spoke about in the last meeting that I spoke with town planner Laura Robertson. I don't know that this is going to be a possibility, only because A, it's a state road, and B, I don't know that any one of those side roads right there directly line up with one another. And that would be a pretty big undertaking. We'd have to involve the state in. So I'm going to continue to discuss that with Laura and see if there are any other options. Excuse me. We did get some correspondence from Complete Streets. Recently, there was an article in the paper regarding the sentencing of an individual who had a crash and was found to be impaired during that crash, and subsequently one of our residents passed away. And Complete Streets kind of read that article and wanted to take the opportunity at that moment to readdress a conversation that apparently has been going on for quite a long time about Route 7. I did speak with District Attorney Bob Carney. He was quoted in the article about possibly reaching out to New York State DOT himself. We had a really nice conversation about it, and he was talking about possibly drafting a joint letter together to send to the state to see if we can get some momentum regarding how we can address the roadway. Do you have any questions on that?
No, we've had like 6 fatals in 3 years, or less than 3 years.
Yeah, so it was, I actually ran the numbers, and in the past, I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to misquote myself, but there were 3 fatals in a single year. And mainly the contributions are impairment. That was something that the district attorney and I spoke about. It's a lot of these impaired drivers are simply traversing through our town, coming from one area, going to another. Sometimes there are phone calls to the police in those jurisdictions about the impaired driving. But for some reason, that part of Route 7 happens to be a place where we have a high rate of crashes, particularly with folks that are impaired. And I know internally in our department, we've addressed it. It is an area of concern for us. We write about reducing crashes on Route 7 for our Governor of Traffic Safety grant every single year and put out directed details and overtime details and really try to flood the area. But at some point, I think, and to the point of the article in the Complete Streets email, I think we need to really start looking at the actual road design itself to see if we can address that too. So I think those are good conversations to have.
I know the DH cracked down too on the offers they make on high speeds on that stretch.
Good.
Peter and I are rejecting even those.
That's excellent news.
We've been taking licenses for, once you get up above 70, people start losing licenses. So.
75.
For first time offense.
And I think we've seen some higher speeds
I had a 95
caught on that road.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, caught on that road because at the recommendation of our traffic liaison, Officer Munger, we actually purchased a LiDAR last year with some money we had left over, and we've been getting really better data on speeds with regards to enforcement through that LiDAR. So he's been out riding it.
laser.
He does love that laser, yes. So
He'll put it in his own car.
I appreciate someone's passionate about it. So town resident Kara Ketchum had requested school bus safety in the area of Balltown Road due to her observing vehicles passing school buses. We did put out some directed patrols to that area. Officer Munger stated they did it for about a week. There were no observed violations. However, as we're going to speak about again in the school district section of the public safety meeting, we are looking into working with the school district to get technologies in place whereby there will be license plate readers and potentially tickets through a company called, what did I say it's called? Bus Patrol. I'm trying to remember, I think it was Bus Patrol. So we're working with the school district in regards to trying to curb this a little bit more broadly without actual officers having to simply observe it consistently. So hopefully that will address this as well. Town events, Coffee with a Cop at the Senior Center, again, is the third Tuesday monthly. We had an amazing time last month. We trained on ADs. I would invite anyone down that wishes to participate and come sit down and hang out and play cards and have good conversations. Also under town events, there's a bone marrow match drive for Aaron Jasinski, Saturday, March 11th from 9 to 12 at Town Hall. This is going to be a pretty awesome event. This is a 4-year-old at Rosendale. Is that correct? Preschooler, I'm sorry. Who is looking for a bone marrow match. And at this event, we're going to attempt to take swabs from folks, not us, but the company that does it, to look for a match. I'm going to get swabbed, and hopefully we can find this young lady a match and hopefully donate some bone marrow to her and change her life forever, her and her family. So, Jess, do you want to speak about what else is going to be going on there?
Sure. We'll have the swabbing, we'll have education for people with questions, we'll have a silent auction, we'll have a bake sale, we'll have a coloring table for kids, we'll have free balloons, and we'll have t-shirts for Team Aaron, and those are actually going on sale, like a pre-sale at the co-op, hopefully this weekend through March 11th. So people can buy the t-shirts ahead of time if you want to wear them that day. And the co-op is also doing a Change for Good from March 1st through 11th to round up change to support the family.
They got $211 the first day,
That's
the
awesome.
roundup.
That's really awesome.
And I think you got 3 of the 4 Swintons are going to get swabbed.
So we should.
18 to 60 years old.
That's why you don't
18
have
to
the
60.
4th.
17 with pair permission.
Oh, okay.
We should probably try to get the water department's billboard signed. And we should send an email to help with traffic flow that day too. Because I suspect it's going to be, I think it's going to be a big event. I really do. And I hope it is. So.
And there's lots to do, like I said, but if you don't want to get swabbed, that you can just come show support and get a free cup of coffee. That's also going to be there. Buy a cookie, you know.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we hope to see everybody there. Under town clerk, Michelle, do you want to go first and then I can just speak about the dangerous dog? Or?
Sure. So we're launching into the season of solicitors. So far, we have one vendor permit that we have ready to issue, Mr. Dingling. He won't be able to pick that up until the end of the month because he can't start until April 1st. And we will be emailing you, Jordan, all the solicitor's permits that we do get with the actual badges of the people that will be out on the streets so that you can distribute them to the officers who are out there. You can email them to them or however you want to do that so that they know who's supposed to be out for each organization.
So just so you know what we do, if you can just copy Chris O'Brien, we save it on our shared drive so it's digitally saved and any officer can access it in their computer.
Yeah.
So
Anything you get, she needs.
appreciate that.
Let's see. Also, when we do hand out the permits, the solicitor's permits, we do give them a copy of the code so they know how
That's
they should be
Yeah.
conducting themselves. Also, the online dog renewal, system is ready to go. We're just trying to get it connected properly to our server. They don't know why it won't connect to our server properly. They're gonna probably be reaching out to you, Seth, tomorrow.
Yeah, I left them into the server yesterday.
Yeah.
They still hadn't been able to figure out what was going on, but he said he had a couple leads that he was gonna
They were
follow
gonna
up on.
do something tonight and tomorrow morning, to see what happens. Because we're anxious to get that going, because we have 260 something dog licenses to renew in March. And we will be putting a little slip of paper on them saying that you can renew online.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add to the dangerous dog contract is Montgomery County is very difficult to get a hold of on the phone. However, I did email them, and we are now, as of today, exchanging correct information regarding what it is we're actually looking for from them, as listed you on the last email. So we'll keep working through the process with them to hopefully see if they have availability for the dangerous dog contract. So that's the goal. Court issues, Judge?
I do. We're in the midst of an OCA audit right now. It's a months-long process that I'm told is the finest of fine-tooth combs. So we're expecting all kinds of recommendations. One of them that's already come up, and I'll be bothering Seth with it at some point, is they don't like that our data is on a town server. But they've also said they will buy us a server. So at some point, we're gonna have to put that in and move all of our court data over to that.
You've technically been on a town server for
Forever. I know.
Ever, because you're on a virtual machine.
Right.
So
And they came in and said, well, we don't like that.
okay.
As long as they're willing to pay to remedy it, it's fine with me. We also are trying to basically recoup unpaid fine and surcharge money from 2021 and 2022. Just on my calendar for 2022, I have $32,000 in unpaid fines and surcharges, but since the state legislature will no longer allow us to suspend people for failing to pay fines and surcharges, there isn't an awful lot of incentive for people to pay them. What we are going to start doing is convert them to civil judgments, which apparently the DA's office will then take, and causes all kinds of financial problems for people when you run credit reports and there's an unsatisfied judgment against them.
So then do we have to do anything with that if they're using it as a lien or?
It's basically that.
Yeah.
We do it for some classes,
Mhm.
cases, usually the criminal cases. Now, this is mostly vehicle
Yeah.
traffic
Huh,
fines and
okay.
surcharges. But it's a big.
Yeah, let us know if you need
process.
anything from our department on that.
No,
for-
you're gonna see an uptick in our
support.
postages for sending out all these letters, but
Yeah.
we're
okay.
doing one letter to try to get it in without having to do the civil judgment route.
Right.
And then we're just gonna convert them to civil judgments.
Okay.
Because we need to close them in our system too.
Yeah,
We've
of
got
course.
file drawers filled with.
Talk to me afterwards. I have something to say about that. So.
Okay, you don't have an unpaid fine or surcharge, do you?
No, I do not. My driving record.
Your credit score is plummeting as we speak.
We're also having a meeting on the CAP court in the accessible magistrate program on March 10th down at the jail. All the judges, we've got obviously some things work better than other things with the whole central arraignment. We're going to try to work out the bugs. And the only other thing I'll note is we're probably going to see an increase in jury trials coming up and a consequent increase in police overtime. We've got a backlog of cases from COVID and everything. We've gotten to a bundle of them that probably just aren't going to resolve.
Okay.
We're just going to try them and be done. I think Pete's got 2 scheduled. I'm about to schedule 3, so that's helpful. That's how we're going to go. That's all.
Is there any flexibility? Maybe you and I can talk later about scheduling to see if there's the ability to schedule them sort of around everybody workday, for instance, where we might have some officers available to assist too if we can't fill those.
Maybe, we battle every time we go to do one of these with our commissioner of jurors, who insists that all of our trials start on Tuesdays,
Gotcha.
which for us is no good, because if it runs into a second day, Wednesday's court day. So we want to start them on Monday, so that I've never had a trial go more than 2 days. We're done for Wednesday, but, so we're a little,
Limited.
and obviously if there's a statutory issue with when we gotta schedule it, we're just gonna schedule it, but yes, we probably got some
Just
flexibility.
Because if it's going to happen that often, it might be difficult to get folks
I
there.
think we're gonna have a little surge of them, and then it'll be back to a year, which I think was our average for a long time.
All right. The school district, we're still having ongoing discussions with the district safety team regarding the installation of Knox boxes for key access. We're literally just waiting on them to make the determination as to which model they want to go with and pay the bill so we can get them installed. Our Niskuna Cops and Kids reading program has rolled out. We're continuing it in the elementary schools with 17 scheduled,
For this month, yeah.
17 for this month. Which school?
That's Craig School.
We're in Craig this month?
Today they had their first 2 reading blocks. There's one tomorrow, and then it's spread out for the rest of the month. It's all the various days.
Some really good
So-
community engagement with our police officers in the elementary schools, reading to the kids and answering questions. So it's been pretty awesome for the schools to almost want us so much that we can't accommodate them. That's a really neat thing to see that they really want us there, right? And that means a lot to us, and I hope it means a lot to the schools and to the kids, because I've never seen 17 classroom readings in a single month for one school, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
we had 16 last month with Rosendale, so it's, and we're getting the submissions for Hillside, which is next month.
Awesome.
And Glen Cliff also, I've been talking to them, and they're putting a schedule together for May. So,
Okay.
yep,
Very cool.
a lot of work. Going good.
Under personnel, we're going to begin, we actually already have begun canvassing the new civil service list for the July class, and that's going to be ongoing here moving forward. We also are continuing to review potential lateral candidates, and we may actually have a candidate to recommend as a lateral transfer for the March meeting. It's a female officer from Schenectady. I'm not going to get too much in depth at this point because we're still working through that process, but hopefully we will have a recommendation by the end of the month potentially. Lastly, under personnel, Officer Munger is going to be assigned to the detective division in April. We anticipate Officer Spataro coming off of FTO prior to that, and then we will be backfilling that detective position that was vacated some time ago with the promotion of Detective Sergeant John Kahn to be able to backfill that position. Those guys have been hanging tough up there. They took on more caseload and on-call time. So they're very excited to get another person up there. And Officer Munger, we're excited for him as well because he did interview very well from my understanding and was a selection of the panel that was formed to interview for that. So that's awesome.
They're definitely busy. I've been signing a lot of search warrants.
Yes. And then lastly, again, thank you to the DA's office. There was a discovery reform grant that we applied for. I believe this is the second year we got it. We did ask them to pay for scanners and copiers for us as a part of that, and they put that in there as well as funding for the discovery clerk's position. So thank you to District Attorney's Office for doing that. We need to do that as a resolution. And I also just put on the appointment of a police officer as tentative, and we'll just kind of keep the town board and everybody in the loop as we continue to process that person moving forward. Does anyone else have anything else they need to add? No. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Okay.
All right. And this concludes our meeting. The next meeting is going to be scheduled for April 6th at 3:30. Thank you so much for attending.